The Biltmore Estate stood tall, a monument to a bygone era. Its stone facade was imposing, its towers reaching for the sky. Gargoyles leered from the rooftops, their shadows stretching across the manicured lawns. The air itself felt heavy, laden with secrets. The estate was a labyrinth of rooms and corridors, each one whispering tales of the past. A place frozen in time, untouched by the relentless march of progress. Mary lived within these walls, a solitary figure in the vast mansion. She wandered the halls, her footsteps echoing in the silence. Each room held a memory, each shadow a potential fear. She felt the weight of the estate's history pressing down on her, suffocating her with its grandeur. She was tethered to the estate, bound by invisible chains. The estate was her world, her prison. She dreamed of escape, of a life beyond the wrought iron gates. But something held her there, an unseen force that kept her rooted to the spot. She was a prisoner of her own lineage, a captive of the Biltmore legacy. The estate was a living entity, breathing down her neck, watching her every move. Mary was different. She saw things others didn't. Flickers of movement in the periphery, shadows twisting into grotesque shapes, faces staring from empty windows. Visions, she called them. They haunted her, plagued her waking hours. They whispered to her, voices from beyond the veil. She tried to ignore them, these fleeting glimpses into another world. But they persisted, growing stronger, more vivid. The visions invaded her dreams, turning her nights into a waking nightmare. She saw the past, the present, and sometimes the future. They were a curse, a burden she carried alone. The visions were a secret, one she guarded fiercely. She dared not speak of them, fearing ridicule, disbelief. The line between reality and illusion blurred, leaving her lost in a world of her own. She was an outsider, trapped in a prison of her own mind. Her visions were her only companions, her only solace in the vast emptiness of the estate. The estate was alive with the echoes of its past. Whispers danced in the corridors, voices carried on the wind. Mary heard them, faint murmurs that sent shivers down her spine. They spoke of love and loss, of joy and sorrow. They told stories of the people who had walked these halls before her. She listened intently, straining to make sense of the fragmented whispers. They were pieces of a puzzle, scattered fragments of a forgotten history. Each whisper offered a clue, a glimpse into the secrets hidden within the estate's walls. They spoke of a tragedy, a dark event that had stained the estate's soul. The whispers became her obsession. She spent hours in the dusty attic, sifting through old letters, diaries, and faded photographs. She was searching for answers, for a connection to the past. The whispers guided her, leading her down a twisted path of discovery. The estate was a treasure trove of forgotten memories, and Mary was determined to uncover them all. One rainy afternoon, Mary stumbled upon a hidden room. It was concealed behind a tapestry, tucked away in a forgotten corner of the estate. The door creaked open, revealing a small, dusty chamber. The air was thick with the smell of decay, the scent of time itself. The room was untouched, frozen in a moment long past. She stepped inside, her heart pounding in her chest. The room was sparsely furnished. A single bed, a writing desk, and a wardrobe. A single window cast a dim light on the scene, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. The room was a time capsule, a window into another era. Mary felt a presence in the room, a sense of someone watching her. She turned slowly, her eyes scanning the shadows. There was no one there, yet she couldn't shake the feeling of being observed. The room held a secret, she could feel it in her bones. It was a place of sorrow, a place of loss. The air itself felt heavy, burdened by unseen grief. That night Mary saw him. A tall, gaunt figure standing at the foot of her bed. His eyes glowed with an eerie light, his face pale and drawn. He was translucent, a shimmering apparition that seemed to flicker in and out of existence. Fear gripped her, icy fingers squeezing her heart. He didn't speak, but his presence filled the room. She felt a wave of sadness wash over her, a deep, bone-chilling sorrow. It was as if he was trying to communicate, to convey a message from beyond the grave. He reached out a hand, his touch sending shivers down her spine. The apparition vanished as quickly as it had appeared, leaving Mary trembling in the darkness. She knew who he was. She felt it in her soul. It was her father, reaching out from the other side. His message was unclear, his intentions shrouded in mystery. But one thing was certain. He was warning her, trying to protect her from something terrible. The visions intensified after her father's ghostly visit. They became more frequent, more disturbing. They whispered of danger, of a threat lurking in the shadows. Mary felt a growing sense of unease, a knot of fear tightening in her stomach. She was being watched, hunted by something unseen. One vision, more vivid than the others, showed her a car, careening off a winding mountain road. She saw the twisted wreckage, the flames engulfing the vehicle. The image was burned into her mind, a horrifying premonition of disaster. She knew who was in that car. She could feel it in her bones. The vision was a warning, a desperate plea from beyond the grave. Her parents were trying to protect her, to shield her from the same fate that had befallen them. They were reaching out from the other side, their love transcending the boundaries of life and death. The message was clear. She was in danger, and time was running out. Days turned into weeks, the visions haunting Mary's every waking moment. She couldn't escape the feeling of dread, the certainty that something terrible was about to happen. The air crackled with anticipation, the estate itself holding its breath. The premonition hung over her, a dark cloud obscuring the sun. Then it happened. The phone call came in the dead of night, shattering the silence. A chilling voice delivered the news, cold and impersonal. There had been an accident, a car crash on a mountain road. The details were sparse, but Mary knew the truth before the words were spoken. Her aunt and uncle, the people who had taken her in after her parents' death, were gone. The car, the road, the flames, it was all exactly as she had seen it in her vision. The premonition had come true, a chilling confirmation of her connection to the otherworldly. The estate, her prison, had become her sanctuary, the only place where she felt safe from the unseen forces that now pursued her. Grief and terror warred within Mary. The loss of her aunt and uncle, the only family she had left, was a devastating blow. But there was something else, a dawning realization that sent chills down her spine. Their deaths were no accident. She knew it with a certainty that defied logic. The visions, the whispers, her father's apparition, it all pointed to a single, terrifying conclusion. Her parents' deaths were no accident either. They had been murdered, taken from her by an unknown enemy. And now that same enemy was coming for her. The estate, once a place of comfort, now felt like a hunting ground. Every shadow held a potential threat, every corner a hiding place for her unseen pursuer. She was trapped in a nightmare, the line between the living and the dead blurring with each passing day. The Biltmore Estate, her ancestral home, was now the battleground for a war that had been waged in the shadows for far too long. Fear threatened to consume her, but Mary refused to surrender. She had inherited more than just the Biltmore Estate. She had inherited her parents' legacy, their strength, and their connection to the other side. She would not let them down. She would not let their deaths be in vain. She embraced her visions, her connection to the supernatural. They were her weapons, her shield against the darkness. The whispers guided her. The apparitions offered her solace and strength. She was no longer a frightened girl lost in a haunted mansion. She was a warrior, ready to face the shadows that threatened to engulf her. The Biltmore Estate, with its secrets and its ghosts, was no longer a prison, but a fortress. Mary was its guardian, the protector of her family's legacy. She would unravel the mystery of their deaths. She would expose the truth, and she would avenge their souls. The battle had begun, and Mary was ready to fight. The Biltmore Estate stood silent, a watchful sentinel against the night. Within its walls, Mary prepared for the coming storm. She was no longer a girl haunted by visions, but a woman empowered by them. The mystery of her parents' deaths, the threat to her own life, it all fueled her determination. The estate, with its grandeur and its ghosts, was more than just a home. It was a legacy, a responsibility. Mary would not let it fall. She would not let the darkness win. She was the girl from Biltmore Estate, and she was ready to face her destiny. The truth, however terrifying, would be revealed. The battle had begun.